not too shy. And I can tell I'm her kind of guy. She dances close to me like I hope she would. She dances for me like I hope she would.
A lot of my kids, and especially in technical theater, but a lot of the APA students, they kind of tease me about being old, calling me Methuselah and stuff like that. But, you know, I get to say, I was young in the 60s, and I was at Woodstock.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrea Taylor, and I am the Special Programs Administrator here at the Academy for the Performing Arts. Thank you all so much for being here today to celebrate the life of our friend and colleague, Joe Batte. It's really something to look out at all these familiar faces, family, alumni, teachers, administrators, board members, all gathered in this auditorium that Joe loved so much. I had the privilege of working alongside Joe for over 20 years. And if you knew him, you knew what a steady, kind, and dedicated presence he was. He poured his heart into this place. Every light cue, every sound check, every show, he made it all happen with care and pride. Today is about honoring that legacy, the laughter he brought, the countless memories he created for all of us. Thank you again for being here to celebrate him. Now I'd like to welcome former APA teacher, Jamie Knight.
I didn't really get to know Joe Batte until my second year as an APA teacher. We were in a staff meeting when Diane Mecca said to me, "You don't have a main stage show. You need to have one. And what do you want to call it?" I paused for a moment. I said, "Retrofest." After the meeting was over, I walked back toward the auditorium with Joe, where I confided to him, "Joe, I'm really worried because I don't know anything about doing a main stage show." He chuckled and he said, "Don't worry, I got your back." I would consult with Joe about how to do everything, and he guided me throughout the whole show process. He gave me one of his techies, Ashley Singh, to help with the script, and she enlisted dancers, actors, and musical theater students to create the show, freeing Simmons and I to worry about the musicians. So in a way, I am one of Joe Batte's students. The picture on the screen is of Joe, right on the upper corner, is Joe building the drum riser for the very first Retrofest. We didn't know how many seats we would fill, and he thought we might sell a couple of hundred tickets. To both of our surprise, the show would sell out, and Joe had to have his techies set up extra chairs. Over the next 14 years, I would regularly stop by Joe's office in the morning, and we would talk about music, our stress from too many shows and responsibilities, and talk about our students. He'd also proudly show me the current set that he and the students were working on. I was fortunate enough to travel with Joe on his trip to Greece with Susan, Mike Simmons, and one of my MMET parents, Pam Fishbein, whose daughter Camber and son Jaden are both in MMET, and then Jaden was in technical theater with Joe. It was on this trip that I marveled at Joe's interactions with his techies, as well as his love for travel and searching for the perfect lamb chop. I always feel like I'm walking into a sacred place whenever I bring students into the auditorium. I loved asking my students to give a big round of applause for Joe and his techies. And I'd always say, "Look at this set that Tech Theater built for you to perform on. This will be your home and your playground for the next week, and then it'll be gone." I was exhausted after my show week, but Joe and his techies, they get to be in show week almost every week of the school year. After Joe and I both retired, we would love reuniting at the APA shows, and we would comment about how we both walk like old men. I love Joe Batte, and every time I walk like an old man into this auditorium, I always feel like I'm visiting at Joe's house. I miss you, buddy. And could we have a moment of silence for Joe Batte? I counted to 7 because Ashley said I should count to 7. So the next slide, please. And now Joe joins Christiana Garasek and Earl Byers in the afterlife. Christiana, right there, was next to Diane Mackes' side at the very start of APA and made APA work. Yes. Earl Byers produced APA theater shows and was the distinguished voice and MC at the APA Academy Awards. Joe took over for Earl as the voice of the Academy Awards, and now all three are reunited in that big APA in the sky. Please welcome the Batte family to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today to celebrate the life of my father, Joe Batte. For those of you that don't remember me, I'm Connor Batte. You probably remember me as a little guy following Joe around before shows would begin. It's good to see everybody here again. The outpouring from social media has helped our family go through this dark time. Seeing all of those stories that were shared, we felt it would be important for everyone that knew my father to have this moment. So today we'll be hearing stories of my dad, when he was here making magic happen on stage. Here where he taught the next generation to dream big and to farm your acre of diamonds. I will be providing a different perspective. I was one of my dad's students during my time here at Huntington High, so I know what my dad was like when he was here. So for now, I will just talk about Joe Batte as he was to me, my dad. He was the greatest dad in the world. He was a man that grew up from a poor background. He knew what struggle looked like, what it felt like. He did not want me or my brothers to go through those same struggles. He worked here at APA and created over 23 years of amazing sets, all to ensure his family could thrive. He taught me everything I know, how to take pride in your work, to never settle, and to always do great things. To be empathetic, sympathetic to those in need or to those going through struggles. He taught me how to be a teacher and to always do something to give back. But he also taught me how to throw a football, how to shoot a basketball, how to cook a steak. When he wasn't working here at school, he was at home with us, getting another Michelin-starred dinner ready to go. Sometimes you'd see him rushing from the grill, apron on, grilling tongs in hand, trying to see what crazy play the Lakers just pulled off, or cheering on his Dodgers at the World Series. Any holiday had to be a day he spent with his family, whether it be family reunions at my Uncle Tony's or a simple backyard barbecue at home. He prioritized his family, working for us, making sure that me, my brothers, and my mom never lost touch with who we were. He made sure that our family, half a world away, always had contact with us, making sure that we would make the journey back to the Philippines, not just because of the sun and fun, but because of family. Joe Batte was a magician, a carpenter, a teacher, a mentor, a technical director, but more importantly, he was a family man, a husband, a father, my dad. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick, Joe's younger brother. First, I want to thank all of you that are here today to honor and celebrate the life of my beloved brother. I'm grateful by your presence, and from our family to yours, thank you. Joe, my dear brother, I miss you. Your life was filled with passion, laughter, and kindness. I will always remember you as the bright star in any room, and that damn infectious smile of yours. It melted everybody's heart. Surely, the glorious light of your spirit shines down upon us today. I have countless memories of my brother Joe. One, coincidentally and recently, comes to mind. Upon hearing my brother Joe's death, I was devastated. I just got in my car and went for a drive. I wanted to be alone. Oddly, I turned on the radio and the song Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys started to play. Well, my memory quickly flashed back to a time my brother would drive us to high school. Joe was a senior, I was a freshman, and his girlfriend Margie was a junior, and she sat in the front seat. In those days, Joe owned an old brown Dodge that always seemed to have a surfboard attached to the roof. On the way to school one morning, with the song Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys blaring on the radio, Joe's drive took an unexpected and circuitous route. We had ended up on the beach highway, A1A, where we lived in Florida. Best spot to check up the surf. And by golly, the surf was up big that day. Much to the dismay of Joe's girlfriend, Margie, school was going to be a quick drop-off for us. Joe had other plans, and boy, was he ready. Surfboard on the roof, bar of wax in the glove box, and he always had a swimsuit and towel in the trunk. Yes, he wasn't going to school that day. I then thought, that was my brother Joe. I learned that day with self-awareness, Joe was bold. And most remarkably about Joe, he always trusted himself. I just think that's one metaphor of Joe's legacy that I leave for all of us here today to contemplate. Joe always spoke about the love for his beautiful wife, Gina, his children, traveling, cooking, the Lakers, and everybody here at APA. He loved you guys, and he was just so proud of his job and so proud of the work that all of you did here. Anyway, later years, Joe expressed his amazement of witnessing golden sunsets in his cherished Philippines. He believed and often told me, brother, I'm living in a paradise. I know today, brother, you're living in a paradise. So, as we say goodbye to my brother Joe, I stand before all of you here today and say, let us smile. And let us carry forward the love, kindness, and strength that Joe shared with us all. Though your presence will be deeply missed, Joe, your spirit will live on in our memories, in our laughter, and the way you touched our lives. May we honor you, Joe, not with sadness, but all of us here, living fully, loving each other deeply, and holding all we love close and precious, just as Joe always did. Rest in peace, my dear brother. You beloved brother, you lovely soul. You will forever remain in our hearts. Thank you.
I'm going to take the mic out here. I'm Tony Batte, Joe's younger and most favorite brother. Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. I was told there'd be no teleprompter or escalator, so anyway, I'm happy for that. Good afternoon, everyone. I am the younger brother, and I idolized Joe, and I almost imitated him. He got a skateboard, I got a skateboard. He got a surfboard, I got a surfboard, and followed in his footsteps. And as we got older, we became closer and closer together until one day I was going to get married in the Philippines, and I decided to invite my brother Joe to the Philippines to be my best man. Well, little did I know that that transformed him. He loved the Philippines, and every chance he got, he would go to the Philippines. and he fancied a town called Bacolog, where he met and married his wife. The reason I'm telling you all this, it's a backdrop to my Joe story. It takes place back in 2002. I was in Manila with my friend Don. We had 3 days to find something to do, and I came up with this wild idea to visit my brother Joe in Bacolog. And I convinced my friend to buy the airplane tickets, and it's about an hour's airplane flight down to Bacolog. So we're on the airplane and we're ready to land, and Don says to me, "Hey, where are we going to meet your brother? Are we going to meet him in the airport? Is he going to meet us at the hotel? How's this whole thing going to happen?" And I said, "Don, frankly, I don't know. I haven't talked to my brother. I have no way of getting hold of him. I don't know where he lives. But I do know one thing. I do know in this town of 500,000 people, my brother's somewhere in this town, and I've got a plan to find him." So we get out of the airport, and I flag down this cab. And we get into the cab, and I say to the taxi cab driver, I said to him, "I'm looking for a foreigner, a Kano." And everybody who knows Tagalog, a foreigner is called a Kano, and it's bestly described as my brother Joe. So we get into the cab, and the cab driver says, "Sir, I know of 2 foreigners, 2 Kanos in this town. One hangs out at a water park and the other at a coffee shop." So I said, "Okay, let's go to the water park." So we go to the water park, and it's this tall, 6'6" Norwegian guy. I go, "No, that's not my brother Joe." And then we go to the coffee shop, and it's this guy holding up a Wall Street Journal, and I said, "That definitely isn't my brother Joe." So there's a moment of silence in the cab. We're at loss. And then the cab driver says, "I know of one other Kano in this city. He's a little crazy, and he's always in the entertainment area of the town." And I've never seen him personally, but all my friends says that he has a show every night where he sings these Tagalog songs, and he's quite entertaining, and he's quite good. I turned around to my friend Don, and I said, "We found my brother." So the cab driver takes us to the area of town. He goes, "It's almost 5:30, you're in luck." He sings at this one venue at about 5:30. And it's a pedestrian street, and all these people are walking back and forth. And on each side, there's all entertainment areas, karaoke places. It's just bustling. So what I do is I stand and I get in the middle of the street. And I stand there, and Don says to me, what are you doing?" I said, "Wait for it." And I looked about 300 or 400 feet down the street, and there's my brother Joe, and he's doing the John Travolta strut. And I go, "Don, that's my brother down there." And he goes, "You mean the guy that's walking like John Travolta?" I go, "Yep." So he walks to us, and we go, "Hey!" And he says, "Oh," and he hugs us, and he says, "I'm ready to perform and entertain these people. Come and join me. We'll laugh and we'll have fun all night." And that was my brother Joe. Anytime you were at a party, you would hear people laugh. You would turn around, there he was in the middle of everyone, telling a joke, a story, or a Shakespearean monologue. And he touched all of us. He touched everybody in this room. He loved this place. This was his house. And I think when he retired, it took something from him. It was like a flower without any sunlight or water. It just wilted away. And all I can say, Joe, is you entertained us, you gave us happiness, joy, love, and inspiration to not only me, everyone here, but everyone in this audience. And I just want to say, brother, I love you. And I know you're down there looking at us now. Yeah. And guess what? We've got one more show to do, okay? And you're selling tickets at the gate right now. God bless you, brother. I love you, man.
Hello? Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mark Batte, and I am Joe's son. So the year was 1998. The show was The Boyfriend. My father had just gotten word that they wanted him to be the technical director for APA, and they invited him to see The Boyfriend to get a sense of what it was like here in the Huntington Beach Academy for the Performing Arts. And he took me to see the show with him. And during the show, we were allowed to go backstage to see what the techies were like, what it was like. And I just remember him multiple times during the show just going, oh no. And needless to say, the show, it wasn't a disaster, but it was not up to Joe Batte's standards. And you know, after the show, he had serious misgivings. He told me, he said, Mark, you know, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to do this. And luckily for everyone, he did it. And the first show was To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. And then from there, it was kind of off to the races. And I wanted to talk about some of the things that I think made my dad great for this job. He was the best carpenter that I've ever met. And part of that is it wasn't just about X's and O's. It was that he had a vision. He saw the show in his head. And I remember when I was a kid, younger, I would see him in his office on working. He would have his graphs and he would have his ruler and he would be designing the sets, and then he would build miniature stage models of shows like Rumors and The Crucible. And God, those sets, I mean, I was the class of 1999 to 2003, and let me just tell you, some of those shows, some of those sets, I mean, you want to talk about the Broadway of high schools, Rumors, Cabaret, A Chorus Line, The Crucible, Grease, Oklahoma. And that's just, you can go back in that green room, I mean, et cetera, et cetera. You go back in that green room, there are walls of his legacy back there, and I would recommend everyone to take a tour and see that. Another thing was his love of theater. From my earliest memories as a kid, when he was at UCI in the drama program, with his mentor, Keith Bangs, who I don't know if he's here in the audience tonight, but Keith, thank you. You know, I remember my dad taking me to see Beauty and the Beast on Broadway in 1997 in New York, and he just loved theater. He was a workhorse. He was dedicated. He was the most dedicated, driven workhorse that I've ever met. Sometimes he'd be in here from 7 a.m. till after 10 p.m. at night. He was first in, he was last out. When there was time to strike a set, he was first in, he was last out, day in, day out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out. He was dedicated. And he loved his students. Like, he genuinely cared about his techies. He wasn't just a teacher, he inspired his students. He inspired his students to cultivate themselves and to bring out the best in themselves and to create things and art, to create art. He really believed in all of his students. And you know, near the end of every school year, the last couple months of every school year, I would sometimes look over at him and he would have a sort of melancholy disposition. And I would say, Dad, what's wrong? What's getting you right now? And he would just kind of have a far off look and he would just say, you know, Mark, he would say, I just hate to say goodbye to this class. I really don't want to say goodbye to this class. Talking about his seniors, you know, he would have to say goodbye every year to a new group of seniors. And it really hurt him. And lastly, at his core, he was a good human being. He cared about people deeply. He found the creative arts to be a way to bring everyone together. He lived a full life. I don't know if many of you know this, but he didn't take this job until he was nearly 50. So he brought a full life experience to bear on this auditorium, on this program. And lastly, it takes two to tango. And as much as Joe believed in his techies and inspired his techies believed in him and they inspired him. And as much as he loved all of you, I know that you loved him just as much. And I just want to thank you all, to everyone here and everyone that wasn't able to make it, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much.
Let's dance in style, let's dance for a while. Heaven can wait, we're only watching the skies. Hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. Are you gonna drop the bomb or not? Let us die young or let us live forever. We don't have the power, but we never say never. Sitting in a sandpit, life is a short trip. The music's for the sad man. Can you imagine when this race is won? Turn our golden faces into the sun. Praising our leaders, we're getting in tune. The music's played by the madman. Forever young, I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever? Forever, forever, forever young. I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever? Forever young. Some are like water, some are like a beat. Some are a melody and some are the beat. Sooner or later they all will be gone. Why don't they stay young? It's so hard to get old without a cause. I don't want to perish like a fleeting horse. He's like diamonds in the sun, and diamonds are forever. So many adventures could come today. So many songs we forgot to play. So many dreams swinging out of the blue. But let 'em come true. Forever young, I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever? Forever, forever, forever young. I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever? Forever, forever, forever young. I want to be forever young. Do you really want to There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places have their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall love you more. Oh, I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more.
During the 9th Retrofest, Joe was the narrator of the show. And because he had been to Woodstock and all of the East Coast festivals, our students started to call the show Joe Stock. The hippie Joe segment of the show was my favorite, so please roll the clip.
This is 1966 Joe. He's kind of got the madman look. But 1 year later, in 67, I had a pierced ear with a hooped earring. My blonde hair, which I had at that time, was down to my shoulders. I wore these super baggy bell-bottom pants, and I had a scarf for a belt, and I carried around a cane shaped like a snake. But people asked me, do I have any pictures of those days? Well, no. I was hitchhiking around the country. I was selling blood and panhandling for food. Who had the time or money to get pictures developed and buy a camera? Not me. But it was quite a time of change, not only for music and our culture, but for this guy too.
The Infinite Thinking Machine was an internet television show that interviewed Joe and I during the Tech Week for a behind-the-scenes look at Retro Festival.
The guys that are over there, Josh is a 14-year-old that's climbing up on that ladder.
Be careful, Josh.
And then Max was in his position about 5 years ago. He's, I think, a sophomore in college, and he helps us, and he's also out in the industry now working while he's going to college as well.
The old way of thinking is, go to high schools and prepare to go to college. We kind of got away from prepare for a job. Mm-hmm. And thank goodness for the ROP, because these kids are preparing for a job. They actually have jobs now working in theater, and that's why they get the good jobs when they get out of here.
I had to play that clip because Josh, that 14-year-old on the ladder, Josh Behrens was the 14-year-old on the ladder and is now continuing Joe's legacy as the current technical theater director. Yay. A testament to Joe, and Josh would even agree with this, is the district finally realized after of the amount of work that Joe did that basically they had to hire 2 technical theater directors to replace one Joe Batte. And at the same time, we're going to bring up Ryan Steidinger, okay? And so if Ryan could come up to the stage, and both Josh and Ryan are going to be over here. Excellent. Ryan Steidinger is the CEO of Pacific Coast Entertainment and also directed the media for the very first Retrofest. And also, for that very first Retrofest, if he will remember this, there was a used PA system from Golden West College that was mounted where one side of the PA worked. Ryan brought the PA system to the show. He also helped design all of the audio things for me, and a lot of people don't realize this, he also helped me design the MMET facility. So Josh, you're going first, right?
So Joe says this in the video about preparing for jobs and careers, and I think that is probably the biggest thing that he ever did for me. Like, I didn't even write this down, but I graduated high school, and one of the first phone calls I got after graduating high school was from Ryan, asking me if I wanted to go to Arizona and do a week-long gig with him and Pacific Coast Entertainment, and that was just the start of my career right out of high school. And I wouldn't have had that opportunity if it wasn't for Joe. And I wouldn't be here doing what I do if it wasn't for Joe Batte. I first met Joe at an open house event right in this house in 2012 after watching the How Techies Put on a Show video that he used to use to recruit all of us. And that was the start of my journey, not only in APA, but in the entertainment industry. And as a student, Joe gave me a space where I could create and design and really just chase any crazy idea. It didn't matter what it was. It didn't matter if it meant that he had to come in on a Saturday so that I could work and hang lights or stay late to program, or even when I asked him to go out and rent a Grand MA2 lighting console that I had never even seen or programmed before so I could try to figure out how to use it. Joe always said, no problem, as long as you can get it done in time. And throughout the time here, Joe would always talk about stories of traveling with the class, and he would offer to take us different places. And I got to go with him on a Mediterranean cruise with most of our senior class, and that is still one of the highlights of high school for me, and just all the things that he showed us on that trip. After I graduated high school, Joe asked me to be the technical director of the Black Box, and during that time, Joe became not only my teacher and my boss, but a mentor and a friend. And Joe, when we were just hanging out in here, he'd always want to talk about sports or tech stuff or stuff that's going on in the industry, and occasionally politics. He always looked for the best way to watch football and basketball while at work, and it was always fun. Like, sometimes I'd get a text while working the Black Box, like, hey, can you help me get this game set up on my phone? And on occasion, Joe would talk about his travels and stories from his life, and especially when it was younger, and I think most of us have heard some of those stories. And when you hear about all the things that Joe has seen and done, I think it's pretty safe to say that Joe lived his life to the fullest and as freely as anyone could ever imagine. From 2016 to 2021, I worked with Joe on almost every APA show, and up until his retirement, when Joe asked me to take his role as teacher and technical director. One thing I didn't realize at the time was that taking Joe's role meant that I was once again Joe's student. The fact that Joe lived down the street was vital to my first 2 years of teaching. I cannot tell you the amount of times I would text him and go, hey, how did you do this? Where is this? What should I do for this part of the set? And I would get the simple response of, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Even after he was retired and had no obligations to this place, Joe still wanted to be involved, and he still came down here and helped me and helped the program. And he gave so much of his time and his knowledge to this place, and there's still things that I, even just on the last 2 builds that we've had, that I would have gone and texted him and go, hey, how did you do this, or where did you find this? And that's when it started to hit me, is when I couldn't actually send that message. I remember showing up as a student one Saturday morning to work on the Miss Saigon set, and me and some of us in the class, we were arriving like 30 minutes early of Joe's see you at 9 o'clock call time. And much to our surprise, Joe was standing on the dock, Starbucks in hand, telling us that he had been here since 5 a.m. because he couldn't sleep and had to come work on the set. There's probably a lot I could say about Joe and just his character and how much he gave to all of us in this place, but there's one thing I think is really safe to say. Joe was a true example of what it meant to be dedicated to one's craft. And I will forever miss him, just as we all will. Thank you.
All right, well, as an audio guy, I gotta start by fixing this. Okay, that's better. And Joe would laugh that I have to get my glasses out to read this. All right. Hello, my name is Ryan Steininger, class of 2000, and I was here on Joe's first day. I remember thinking, gosh, who's this old guy? I introduced myself as the self-proclaimed head of the tech department. He smiled, he very graciously introduced himself, and that began a 20-plus year friendship. I thought of all the many stories I could tell. Perhaps I could share about the time I over-glow taped the stage as a freshman for a show. Well, when the lights went out, everyone started laughing. It looked like a runway. Except Joe. He began cursing because I wasted his glow tape. Or maybe I should share about the time that Joe sent me into the catacombs, right under this audience where you all sit. I was crawling and came face to face with an albino rat. I yelled, and Joe's response was, "They don't bite that hard, just keep going." Or maybe I should share about the summer where Joe let me step into his shoes as the auditorium supervisor. I might or might not have dragged some asbestos-covered carpet through the auditorium from the old green room, all the way down the cove, up the stairs, and into the booth. When Joe got back, the building looked like a scene out of E.T. Joe, in his baby blue puffer vest, just shook his head and walked away. But no, today I thought I would tell you about how Joe helped my business. I own PCE, now a regional event production company doing concerts, theater, theme parks, corporate events, all sorts of lovely. But in those early years, Joe, when I started my business, Joe was there to support us. He purchased gaff tape. He rented from us. He purchased new sound equipment. He let us design the theatrical systems, including the sound system that you all enjoy today. Sorry. He was truly and indeed a supporter. And I'm not alone. There were a few students over the years that started their own businesses, and he supported them too. For me, though, one of the most valuable things that Joe and I were able to do together was to give his students practical work experience. Whether they worked for me as interns, or came up as freelancers, or even became part-time employees, they had a place to start. Almost every year, like clockwork, Joe would come and visit me at the office and pick up his 2 rolls of gaff tape. He would tell me about the amazing students he had, always singing their praises, always talking about the good people that they are. For those that perhaps weren't going to college, they needed some place to start their career. And for so many, that was PCE. So, some may have worked for us just a few days, while others made a career out of it. I recently tried to go through and figure out how many students that was over the past 25 plus years. That number's well over 50. While Joe inspired so many individual students, at the same time, he was helping me grow my business, providing me with quality technicians, being a great customer, and always coming by every few weeks and buying a couple rolls of gaff tape. I always asked Joe, why don't you just buy a case? You could save a couple of bucks and save yourselves time. Well, he responded, "I'll still be here in 2 weeks to buy 2 more rolls because those damn kids will lose it." Joe was a kind man, a loving heart, and we were all Joe's kids. He taught us leadership, he taught us professionalism, he taught us about integrity, but he allowed us to be kids. He allowed us to find ourselves and discover a craft and an industry that we all absolutely love. Many of you in this room are still in the industry today, working hard every single day because of those experiences we were given by Joe. Many years ago, we started a tech theater scholarship here at APA. It was for those tech students, and we named it after my father. This scholarship is something important to the students that have come through this building. Tech is often forgotten, marginalized, kids in black in a background just making it happen. But Joe made sure those kids had a voice and were celebrated. So it's in his honor that I would like to rename that scholarship after Mr. Joe Batte. And I have here, Josh, come here. Where are you? I have a check for you, Josh. You can't cash it, it's not for you, sorry. It's for the many kids for this year's recipient. I would like to close with this. Joe was my teacher, my mentor, my first customer, my best PCE recruiter, my boss. More than that, he was my friend. Those of you who know this building and know it well, we know about our ghost. This is a creepy place. when you lock up at night, when you close the doors, banging to make sure they're closed, walking around, turning things off, and the lights go out. This building makes noise, and it speaks to you. It's just George up there. Well, now George has a friend. Joe's spirit will live on in this building to comfort and guide so many generations of students to technical theater excellence. Joe, I miss you, I love you, and I thank you for everything you've given me.
Well, seniors, here we are. It's June and graduation's right around the corner, and I'm here to say goodbye. You know, I feel like we shared more than just 4 years together. I feel as though I shared an adventure with you. Now you're about ready to start a new adventure, an adventure I won't be able to share with you. But I hope you take with you the memory and the pride and everything that you accomplished here. I hope you remember things we talked about, things like honesty, being truthful, not just to others, but to yourselves and what you believe in. Don't forget the magic word, attitude, because whatever challenges and adversity life throws at you, if you go about any task with a positive attitude, you'll accomplish it, I promise you. And I want you to know that I'm going to miss each and every one of you. You know, you're very lucky. This is your time. You are the right age, in the right place, at the right time in history. There's nothing you can't achieve. There's nothing you can't be. There's nothing you can't have. What you should do is make sure your goals are worthy. Write down the one you want to accomplish first. Put it somewhere where you can see it every day. You can think about it every day and remember, there are far more reasons why you should achieve it than why you can't. And you know what? You'll be amazed at how soon you might actually achieve that goal. When I was a young boy growing up in the 1950s, each year one of the 3 TV stations would show The Wizard of Oz on TV. And we'd talk about it all day in school, and at night every family in our town would be gathered around their TV set to watch that event. And I was far too young then to realize that Dorothy's adventures in Oz were just a dream. I thought they were really happening. And I remember how devastated I was when she actually was going back home and had to say goodbye to the Tin Man and the Lion and the Scarecrow. And I remember when she went to the Scarecrow, she said, "I think I'm going to miss you most of all." Well, that's the way I feel right now. I feel we've been on this great adventure, that we've overcome these odds and obstacles and challenges, just like Dorothy. And after saying goodbye for 18 years to 18 different classes, I can honestly say, I'm going to miss you most of all. And now, before I wave my final goodbye, I'd like to leave you with this video. It's my gift to all of us, to myself and to you.
Left or the right. One is wide, but the other is hard and narrow. Take this one, and you can call it your own. There will be so many voices trying to turn you around. Take a moment just to listen, then carry on. Go where your heart believes. Your memories are waiting. It's the only way to find out who you are. There will be times when you're lost and lonely, and you will have no one beside you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Diane Mackus, originator of Batte. As we said, we're here today to celebrate the remarkable, witty, and slightly grumbly force of nature, Joe Batte. For 23 years, he was the wizard behind the curtain. As our tech director and auditorium manager, he lit the lights, raised the curtains, and occasionally raised an eyebrow when we'd ask for just one more impossible piece or a lighting cue. You'd hear the familiar sigh, ugh, followed by the mutter, "You've got to be kidding. Oh, I don't know, geez. Let me see." And then he'd go and make it happen every single time. He was our MacGyver with the measuring tape, our master of sets, our grumbling guru of all things backstage. He turned plywood and paint into castles and dreams, and more than once, he turned a potential disaster into a Tony-worthy masterpiece. But Joe wasn't just a brilliant tech director. He was an extraordinary teacher and mentor whose passion for technical theater inspired generations of high school students. With his trademark mix of high standards and dry humor, he built one of the best tech programs in the nation. Under his guidance, students didn't just learn how to run lights or build sets. They learned creativity, discipline, and confidence. Many went on to careers in the technical arts, some even earning prestigious awards. Joe's legacy is one of innovation, mentorship, and unshakable belief in the potential of young people. From 2004 until COVID, Joe and I crisscrossed Europe and Asia with our students. Paris, Athens, Tokyo, Rome, Beijing, you name it, we explored it. Every trip was a whirlwind of culture, history, and connection. Group dinners, art museums, concerts, and my personal favorite, those bustling markets that revealed the heartbeat of every city. Joe believed that learning happened everywhere, especially in those spontaneous, unscripted moments abroad. For Joe, these adventures weren't side trips. They were the soul of education, proof that curiosity and joy was vital as any lesson plan. And of course, there were the legendary sneak away dinners with Richard Price, our favorite tour guide, and a rotating cast of brave staff members. Every meal was Michelin worthy, every story a classic, every experience epic. But beyond the travel, the gaffer tape, the stage flats, Joe was a family man, a good friend, a loyal colleague, and a devoted husband to his beloved Gina, and a wonderful father to Connor, Mark, Claimer, and Michelle. Every summer, he'd escape to their home in the Philippines, trading stage cues for ocean views, and this year was supposed to be the forever version of that escape. I had the incredible fortune to see Joe just 3 days before he passed, at Albertsons of all places. And we laughed, we looked back, we looked ahead, we said, "I love you," and we meant it. And we parted with a promise to see each other at Shrek. His passing was sudden, and yes, it hurts, but Joe left us with a legacy of excellence, of dedication, of joy, and of course, Diet Coke and rum. So here's to Joe, set builder, world traveler, master grumbler. Dear friend, you lit up the stage and our lives.
Hi, everyone. My name's Tim Nelson. I'm the musical theater director here for all the years that Joe was here. And wow, I can tell you, first of all, just to look out over the faces and see all the blasts from the past in the tech, in every actually APA department, staff, and everything out there is such a testament, and it is just amazing. And I know that Joe would be so pleased to see that everyone is here in his honor. Well, Joe was nothing short of a wizard. He was a real master of his craft as our technical director. And honestly, when Mark came up here and talked, I was like, did you read my speech, Mark? And because so many things that Mark said is kind of similar to what my experiences were with Joe. In APA's early years, our technical department was struggling to find its footing. And I remember even after my first season here thinking, oh boy, we need some help. Okay, and so in walked Joe Batte, and he was a master builder. But more than that, he was a visionary. From the very beginning, his creative spirit, his sense of purpose just aligned perfectly with mine and with Diane's. And it was like a miracle had happened. So together, we not only just built sets, but really entire worlds around here at APA. From that point on, we created true masterpieces. There was Miss Saigon, you mentioned on that earlier. Not once, but twice, complete with that incredible helicopter of his. I know, it deserves its own round of applause, I think. So many of you in this building today had a hand in that as well, and in many of these productions. The dreamland that he created was like unlike any other. There was Sideshow, that incredible stadium seating set that he created for that. Damn Yankees, an actual stadium that he created for that. Les Mis, and of course Sweeney Todd and the Rib Cage. Yeah, go Rib Cage, people. And then of course the piece de resistance, which I think he really, really enjoyed, was that Phantom of the Opera. If you were sitting right around there, you would have had that chandelier crashing right into you. These were absolutely extraordinary feats. You look back on these and you think there is no other high school in the country that could even dream of accomplishing that, likely never probably will. We were all really proud of Joe's tech department, all the students and all of his staff that were part of the department, because they started just receiving award after award for their productions. Every single one of their accolades, I think we all celebrated with them because we knew that it was not just his skill, but his imagination, his leadership, and his heart that really brought those awards to fruition. And finally, as a person, Joe was just remarkable. Down to earth, right? Fun-loving, yep. Tirelessly hardworking, and brimming with genuine passion for the theater and especially for life itself. He was simply put a 1 in a million man to me, a builder of dreams, a mentor to many, and a true miracle of a human being. His light will continue to shine on every stage, and especially here at APA, and in the hearts of all who had the privilege to know him. So God bless you, Joe Batte.
Bonjour from Paris. Like many of you, I was saddened and shocked to hear of Joe Batte's passing. It has saddened me profoundly. My name is Richard Price, and I worked with Joe Batte for nearly 20 years, planning international trips for APA students. Since Joe's death, I've thought about the ways that we've changed people's lives. We went to places like Singapore, Japan, England, France, North Africa, Spain, and many more. For these trips, this was all Joe. I worked for him. They were all his. Make no mistake about this. This was all Joe. And I can't fathom to think about the number of lives he has changed by these international trips. I like to think that Joe and I opened people's minds. These trips made students aware that there are other ways of doing things. I like to think that we helped make people's minds more tolerant and inclusive, and with an understanding of the differences of others. In Spain, for example, the students learned that, yes, it is indeed possible to eat dinner at 10 o'clock at night and survive. This was all Joe, and I just helped. He helped take off the blinders to see that there were other ways of doing things. And here's my husband, Joe Morano, the other Joe.
I had the privilege of going on some of the trips that Richard arranged with Joe Batte. One of those was a Greek tour on a cruise ship. It was my very first cruise ever in my life, and it changed my life. Because of Joe Batte, I am now a cruise junkie.
And it wasn't just the students on these tours. There were also dedicated administrators and parents who went on these trips. There was, let's see, Diane, of course, Julia, Mary Ellen, Gina, Sandy, Ruben, and so many others. And we always joked that our goal was to have an international tour that was just adults, no students. But with Joe Batte, it was always about the students. We had so many funny things on these trips. I miss Joe dearly. Here's to you, Joe. And I hope wherever you are, you're sitting in first class.
And I worked with Joe before he was at APA. I was a staff painter at UC Irvine, and Joe periodically would come in and do some freelance work, helping out in the shop. So that's where we met each other. So the next year, when I'm in graduate school now, and I'm designing the second year, Joe disappears. And apparently he started working at APA. Joe could get 30 or 40 people every day on stage, this menagerie of people, you know, students doing lights, some doing sound, others building, and, you know, and I'm over there in the shop doing painting, and, you know, and just watching this whole thing, and it was madness, and somehow he was able to keep it all together. Sometimes he'd come up with very original designs. Sometimes he'd say, well, let's make it look just like the Broadway set, and he would. Or he'd come up with a very original design, and I would say the scope of that space, the size of that auditorium, the number of people there, and all the people that worked at APA, all those students. I've never seen in any college environment that many students on stage doing their job. And Joe had the ability to get them all to be there and want to be there. They want to be there every day. They want to be there on times that they didn't have to be there. It was kind of amazing. Some of those kids just lived there. And so let's honor that positive role model. See you, everybody. Love you, Joe.
Good afternoon. My name is Keith Bangs. I was a production supervisor at UC Irvine for 37 years, and I was Joe's teacher and friend. You know, I met Joe many years ago when he came into my office wanting to sign up to work in the shop and take some classes. And I thought, great, an older, returning student with construction experience. And boy, we were really looking forward to working with him. And he worked in the shop a lot, but his real passion was acting. And boy, did the acting faculty love him. You know, he was cast in every part that called for an older gentleman. And he loved being around all the kids at UCI. His most notable role was as Officer Krupke in our production of West Side Story. Just think about this for a minute. Here's a guy with a career in construction, and he decides to walk away from that and get a drama degree. I mean, Joe was all about following his passion, and that's what he set out to do. You know, Joe lived what I would call a life well lived. He loved acting in the plays. He loved working backstage. He was just great to be around. Over the years, I got to know Joe pretty well, and I heard some stories about some of Joe's other passions. Of course, we all know about his passion for fine food, fine dining, and for world travel. But did you know that Joe was kind of an adventurer? Now Tony will correct me on all the details, but a lot of stories Joe told me got better with the telling. But did you know that Joe purchased a sailboat with the idea of sailing down to the Caribbean and on to Jamaica? And Joe was a waterman. He spent a lot of time at the beach, but he wasn't really a blue water sailor. And from what I hear, they made it down the coast sort of okay and through the canal. But when they got out into the Caribbean, they got lost and ran out of food and water. And were fortunately, eventually, rescued by the Cuban Navy. And the Cubans, provided him with some guidance and additional supplies, and I guess they finally did make it to Jamaica, but the crew and Joe decided that they would fly back. That makes me think of the time that Joe decided to get into the seafood import business. Joe loved the Philippines, right? And he was always looking for a way to get a few extra bucks so he could take another trip over there or spend a little more time over there. Well, I guess he met someone who was selling frozen shrimp. And the idea was buy it cheap in the Philippines, bring it back to Orange County and sell it to local restaurants. Well, he bought something like 2,000 pounds. And he got back and he learned that the seafood market, the frozen shrimp market, had crashed while he was over in the Philippines, partially due to seafood farming in the Philippines. So he was stuck with all this shrimp. And so he turned to the local stagehands, I guess the people who he knew around who had a little bit of money. And we bought as much frozen shrimp as we could handle. And thoughtfully, he included a list of recipes with each purchase. But we ate frozen shrimp for about 3 weeks, almost every meal after that. But those are just a couple of quick examples of Joe's adventures and his life of, following his passions. I wanted to share one more adventure with you, an adventure that Joe led me on. 27 years ago, Joe introduced me to my lovely wife, Rosemary, and we've been happily married ever since. So, Joe, thank you. And, when we think about Joe later this afternoon, this evening, or over the coming weeks and months, I'm sure that he would want us all to think about him as living a life well lived, that he wasn't afraid to follow his passions, and that he tried to cram everything he could into his time on earth. So let's remember him that way. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
This man is worth $500, and this man's going to collect. He's Jake Cahill, and he lives by bounty law.
You don't ever bring him in alive, now do you, Jake?
When there's 3 of them and 1 of me.
What are you looking at, bounty killer?
Looking at an ugly owl who's about to get his jaw busted. Amateurs try and take men in alive. Amateurs usually don't make it.
Whether you're dead or alive, you're just a $ to Jake Cahill on Bounty Law. Thursdays at 8:30, only on NBC.
Hello, everybody. This is Alan.
So I keep trying to film this without crying. I don't think it's going to happen. So here we go. Joe, gonna miss you. I already miss you. You meant a lot. I texted you in June because you told me to go to Harry's bar in Venice when I was visiting with friends. So I sent you a picture. And the last thing you said to me was, hell yeah. I'm gonna miss you, Joe. Hell yeah.
Short. Hi, I'm Gail Bull, and I'm here to honor Joe through the lens of the APA Guild presidents. If you are a past president of any APA Guild, that includes CRAD, MMET, musical theater, orchestra, dance, would you please stand up? Come on, I know I saw a lot of you. Every one of us is grateful for Joe. His care and love of the students and the craft filled the backstage of every performance. Our shows would have never been the same without him here. Our children performed in a professional atmosphere, which included sets, lighting, sound, technical training, while they were all in a high school program. Many are still using the skills that Joe taught them today in their professional careers. We are so grateful for Joe. One of my personal memories is when we first started the Musical Theater Guild in 2003. I asked Joe, well, our guild, we wanted to decorate the lobby. We wanted to decorate it to reflect the beauty of the show that was coming up, The Secret Garden. We wanted everyone to experience the beauty of what we knew the set was happening and going on the minute they walked into the theater. I asked Joe, do we have to have all the desserts individually wrapped and, like they've always been, like Skittles and muffins and things? And he said, absolutely not. He said, I would prefer to have them served so that they can't be snuck into the theater. We gave the theater a little bit of facelift that year, and it continues to this day. The front of house wearing black and white. This was all with Joe. Joe was very protective of this theater with the remodel, and he was a perfectionist. He was a perfectionist on and off the stage. One of my presidents said to me something I thought was very profound, and this is how I want to end this. His passing leaves a Joe-shaped hole in the APA community and in our hearts. Thank you.
Starting with Rumors in 1998, all the way through the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime, I did more shows with Joe Batte than anyone else. Not only was he expert at building any set you needed, but he empowered his tech students to be designers, set construction, run crew, paint crew, sound, lights, and everything else. They did their job with professional ease. I have such memories as my set for Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, the 4-level set for the Diary of Anne Frank, and the 11 sets for On the Razzle. When one blew off the loading dock during Act 1, he had it rebuilt by Act 2. I got to see Joe for dinner with my APA friends this year, and it's a memory I will cherish forever.
Joe Batte made a huge positive impact on the Academy for the Performing Arts, Huntington Beach High School, and thousands of students' lives. He was one of the first group of APA staff members and is one of the reasons the programs have thrived. Joe worked with me on performances with the Huntington Beach High School Wind Ensemble, the jazz bands, the District Honor Band, APA Orchestra, and lots of musical theater pit orchestras. Joe would do everything he could do to help us look and sound good. But of course, never on Super Bowl Sunday. And of course, Joe worked with me to develop Sounds of the Seasons, coordinating staging, lighting, and all the logistics of that little orchestra concert that involved 10 pianos in the pit, brass, woodwind, string, percussion ensembles, both on the stage, some seated, and some with theatrical choreography, the color guard on the stage, the marching band in the auditorium, and even up in the balcony, and the large ensembles on the stage. Joe helped coordinate in real time the backdrops, the lighting, the timing of the curtains of the performance, both in front of it and on the stage, the reading of The Night Before Christmas, and yes, even snow falling on the orchestra. Joe helped to make so many cherished and memorable moments. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Joe loved what he did.
We'd just like to express how grateful we are for Joe and Gina and what a positive impact they made on the Gilbo family. 25 years ago when we had our son Remy and I had to go back to work, I didn't know what to do. We had no relatives out here. We didn't know any daycare that we felt comfortable with. And Joe suggested that even though they had the two boys at home, Gina loves babies and she would be his caregiver, and she accepted, and he started his life out in such a loving environment. So thank you for the positive impact for us.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Bonnie Castry, a longtime member of the Board of Trustees of the Huntington Beach Union High School District, and I had the honor of working and knowing Joe Batte. I call him the master builder. He was hired as the auditorium technician on November 4th, 1998, and retired from our district, sorta, on September 15th, 2021, after more than 22 years of dedicated service. Then he proceeded to volunteer in his beloved program in this magnificent auditorium, hence serving our APA community and district for more than a quarter of a century. During those years, he took the fledgling, struggling technical theater program with a few students and built it into a world-class program. He not only built stages, lighting, etc. with students, he motivated them to build their careers, their self-esteem, and lifelong relationships. Where else in those years did students learn to build a helicopter for Miss Saigon, a boat that paddled over this beautiful stage for the Phantom of the Opera, and a huge sinking ship in Titanic? Joe built their knowledge base of how to use tools, and as important, their sense of self and creativity, and how to think out of the box. He helped them to build teams that worked effectively and celebrated each other's strengths and helped each other through struggles. Throughout his tenure, he supported his students and the district in a variety of roles, including earning credentials to teach his tech students in ROP, and most recently through the adult school. All three of his sons are APA grads and doing very well. He built relationships within APA with the entire staff in order to be trusted with the most challenging tech and lighting for multitudes of shows, which you've heard about this afternoon. He was a fierce defender of APA and built relationships with our district and with surrounding districts in order to build the program to what it is today. Joe built the program by establishing community and business contacts, many of whom donated much needed equipment and their expertise to our tech program. And they hired our graduates because of the relationships and the knowledge of the full wonderful education that our students receive through Joe's leadership. Joe's students learned from the master thinker and the master builder. Lest you think it was all hard work, Joe also provided many fun times that also helped to build community and long-lasting relationships. Students learned about the world on trips near and far, and you've heard about those today. And the film Joe put together at the end of each semester was a special gift of his, specifically to each one of his classes, so that he could say so long to each one of those classes. He loved them all. And we'll never forget his tales of attending Woodstock in the 60s. He left the tech program with a deep structural foundation, which is now being built upon by Josh and Chris. You've heard today that Josh was one of his students, a standout, and is now standing on Joe's shoulders and continuing to build the magnificent sets and strong, well-educated students. Joe's strong work ethic lasted beyond his retirement as he continued volunteering as an usher and front office manager at many APA performances. In this role, he continued building relationships. With our new parents and students, he was always smiling and welcoming them to the APA family. Joe built strong family ties. All three are APA grads. I remember him bringing Connor to my home many years ago to pick up lumber and other donations, and so proudly telling me, "This is my son, Connor." And when he graduated college and became a teacher in our district, Joe's pride was visible and so warm. He worried that Connor would be a continuing success, as he worried about each of his children. But most of all, he worried about his beloved wife, Gina. He was so proud of her, and when she was promoted within the district, his smile got even bigger, and the buttons burst on his blue jacket. Obviously, his family relationships were built on a deep love and warmth that I trust you are all feeling today as we talk about the legacy of this very great man. I talked to our wonderful superintendent of schools, Dr. Carol Leogatta, recently, and I'm pleased to tell you that on behalf of the district, we will have a chair in Joe's honor, which the family may choose whichever chair in the auditorium that's not already taken they would like to have. And in addition to that, a plaque in a place of honor for Joe, because this is indeed Joe's place. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, it's been 25 years of APA, but I've only been here 20 years. But still, I've had a lot of fun with the students, had a lot of great kids come through this program, and I'm looking forward to the 25th anniversary, and a lot of you guys coming back so we can reminisce about all the fun we made of the actors through our headsets. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys. Come on back for the 25th anniversary.
Next slide. Hi, everyone. My name's Ashley Singh, class of 2024. Excuse me? Okay, 2004. So good to see you. I'm just gonna take this off. So good to see you guys. This is gonna be a little alumni presentation. I know several of you want to speak as well, and so I invite you to join us out in the amphitheater after this. We're gonna have a sign-up sheet. You can get up, we have a mic set up, and you can say your goodbyes, share your memories. We'd love to hear from you. We're also gonna open up the theater. We're gonna open up the space. You guys can walk around. Remember, there's no food or drink allowed anywhere inside the auditorium. And as a stage manager, I feel it's my duty to remind you, don't touch props that aren't yours, or wigs or costumes or anything else lying around. They're in tech right now for Romeo and Juliet. I'm gonna say a few words about Joe. You know, he was an incredible mentor. He inspired so many of us. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. No, I'm not gonna cry. Okay. Some of my favorite lessons I've learned from Joe: measure twice, cut once, classic. Use your entire annual budget or they'll cut it the next year. But I think the thing I take away the most from my time with Joe is the sense of community he fostered and instilled in all of us. You know, I often feel tech was kind of an island of misfit toys, but somehow he didn't just get us to all work together, he instilled a sense of pride in all of us, a pride for ourselves and the work that we were doing. You know, we'd come in on our days off, we'd come in early mornings, late nights, and that was because of Joe. That was the magic of Joe. He inspired us, he advocated for us, and he wanted us to win. I think about the Walk for the Arts and how all the students fill the auditorium from all departments, and you know, he's blasting Cotton Eye Joe. But you better believe he relished in the glory of winning that tug-of-war trophy. Oh my God, he loved it. He took every opportunity to make us rise to the occasion. So as you're walking around later today, take a moment to remember how Joe built this incredibly safe and inclusive space for us, and think about maybe how you can be a light in your own communities. I know he really, it's live theater, you guys. I know that would be like a great way to honor him. All right, I'm gonna let this person speak next, and I'll see you all outside in the amphitheater after this. Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna go off script real quick. Mark, you mentioned the boyfriend. That moment, he was second guessing himself. That was us. Oh man, that was a very dangerous set. Anyway. My name is Sakura Minamita Harris, alumni 2001 Academy Award winner for tech. Joe, I can't put into words how much you meant to me. Remember back in 2000s, us weirdos were your first students. Tech really wasn't the coolest discipline. That's wild to think now, but you single-handedly changed that. You made techies super cool. You made an underdog department matter. You taught me tenacity, empathy, and confidence. You taught me how to be a leader. You taught me to be the person I am today. Do you remember the Crucible set we brought to life together? I was really obsessed with all the subtext and wanted every little nuanced details right for that set. Despite some pushback from our stakeholders, you were by my side pushing my crazy vision. Together, we brought home our first CETA award for Best Set Design. In that moment, you taught me tenacity. When I told you I got rejected from the college of my dreams due to insufficient tuition funds, you jumped on the phone with them right then and there and told them, you are making the biggest mistake. It didn't change the outcome, by the way. But that didn't matter. In that moment, you taught me how to lead with empathy. The craziest thing that happened was I was on stage, not behind the scenes, but with the spotlight on little old me bringing home our first Academy Award for Tech in 2001. You were standing there next to me like a proud Papa Bear in that moment. You taught me confidence. Oh, and let's not forget, you pointed at my mom's belly when she was pregnant and said, that kid will be in my class. 16 years later, it happened. Nami's right there. Nami Minamita ended up being your student. Oh, and so thank you for entrusting me to be your lead set designer. Thank you for everything you have done for us techies. I miss you so much. You will always be part of my story. And from here on out, this Academy Award will embody your legacy.
Hi, my name is Bobby Gill, class of 2007. Joe Batte was a father figure, a leader, a mentor, a friend, a confidant, and someone you could always trust to go to, no matter what was going on in your life. For a lot of us in my year, Cody Gummerman, Ryan Burke, Max Weisenberger, Kate Thomas, a lot of us were misfits, like Sakura said. But Joe brought all of us together, and he gave us the blueprint to be better leaders, to lead a fulfilled life, a life that wasn't easy, that didn't leave you unscathed, but with memories, culture, class, philosophy. He was someone for so many of us that gave us a space to express ourselves, to truly develop passion, whether it stayed in technical arts or it branched out into any other form or profession. Joe Batte was one of the best curators of leaders today. Thank you.
Joe Batte, this is Britt, class of 2003. You also knew me as Tiger, Sport, I don't know, other words that I'm not going to say on here. You are a legend in every single sense of the word, from your compassion and kindness to your iconic fashion sense. I'm looking at you, bright blue puffer vest. I'm looking at you, navy blue puffer vest. I'm looking at you, black puffer vest. And I am looking at you, olive green puffer vest. And all the vests that I didn't get to see from 2005 through whenever, you know? You are an amazing human. You taught me the value of friends and family. Every time that you would go home on a long day to dinner with your family and then come back to the theater was something that was small at the time, but significantly impacts what I do in this world today. Your encouraging words held a lot of weight in my soul. You were incredible. The words that you said and the encouragement that you gave, the favorite lighting moments that you had that I was able to produce and that you liked meant so much to me. I think just it's amazing. You taught me the value of the details that do matter, and then the details that aren't necessarily the most important, but could get to on a work note. And I've taken that with me into my own industry and my own personal life. It was something that I didn't realize would be as impactful as it was. And sometimes you don't know that until the person that did it to you and impacted you is no longer there. I hope that you enjoy the best seat in the house wherever you might be. I admire you so much. I have a lot of love for you in my heart. And until that day we meet again, have a great time. Thanks for everything, Joe.
The Appa kids are in the room where it happens, the room where it happens, the room where it happens.
My God,
Another show, every day a new production. Don't cry, Joe.
they just assume it'll happen, but no one understands the room where it happened.
In rehearsals every night.
All right. I'm here to serenade you.
Not yet, though. Okay. Wow. I was just backstage thinking about the crazy amount of stagecraft that we do, even for something like this today. And we all think that, oh yeah, I made this happen, I got everybody going, but I really started to think about if it wasn't for Joe and the amount of how much he would ratchet up the quality of things and showed us the way, that all the people that helped me, Ryan, who really helped ratchet up everything I've done here, he got it probably from Joe. Josh too. So it's like, it's crazy. Anyway, here's my spiel. I've been a musician my whole life. I don't know if you knew that. I rarely get a chance to play in here. But more often than not, for musicians like me, that means when you go to a venue, you just run in, set up all your stuff, play for a few minutes, tear down, and get out because somebody else is going to go after you. So having Tech Week in here for the first time 20-something years ago, for our first Retrofest, was right here in this room. That was all new to me. When I saw what Joe and his crew had designed and built, like a whole stage, and we had risers, and there was like a drum riser for me to play on because I was drumming back then, and a little, hi Joe, and like a light thing behind me and all this stuff, and I was just like, wow, this is what a real show is like. It's about time. So over the 18 years after that, as I somehow became a teacher here, Joe and his department was always my number one inspiration, and my goal was to try to be even a fraction of what his was, what he did with his tech kids. The culture that they had in tech and his relationship with the students amazed me, and I hope that someday I could get my little media group somewhere near that level. That never happened. I'm not as patient and selfless as Joe. People might argue with me, but I know better. Anyway, he imparted so much to his students, a lot of little details, the stagecraft, the safety, the lights, the tools, but beyond that, he really got down to the heart of things, what it means to be human. He may not have been a religious man, but he taught the values that I grew up hearing in the church, which is love one another, treat others how you want to be treated, and maybe the most important of all is lead by example. The success of his students, many of whom are you guys here in this room, largely due to his leadership and his example of love, support, and encouragement. That's something all of us who remain here as teachers specifically need to take away in our hearts, is lead from a place of love and patience. Good luck. I'm talking to myself here. And the students will leave here changed for the better. I try to tell myself this every day as I drag my beaten body onto this campus. And that's literally how it goes. And I tell myself, just be good to the kids and everything's going to be okay. So I really have Joe to thank for that and that example. So every time I used to see him, I'd come in here and he'd smile at me and go, Miguel! So that's the first thing I think of when I think of Joe. He was so proud of what we do here, so proud of his students. He put in more hours, sweat, and pain than all of us. And all the APA staff here know what that really means. He also knew where to draw the line, when to put his family first. I hope they know that he really was thinking of them all the time he was here. He used to mention it all the time. So we naturally talked about music a lot and shared many favorites. I'm a Beatles guy, obviously. He was more of a Stones guy, but I tried not to hold that against him. There was one song he always hoped that MMET would do here, and we never did. So now for the first time ever, I'm going to sing this song. It may be the last time, too. I don't know. That's a hint. Anyway, we have a surprise behind the curtain for you guys. Before we get there, though, I just want to say it's always a special day for an APA director when you first walk in for your first tech day and see what Joe and the techies have built for you. I learned early on that what I expected to find and what I would really get are not always the same. But yeah, so I have a couple things I want to say to Joe before we move on. First, I can't even see the stage, guys. This joke is not going to fall. They're working on it. Yeah, let's do it. Did I say the wrong word? No, let's go. Let's do it. Raise that curtain. Can we raise that curtain? There we go. Oh, a surprise. Look, Stagecraft. That's a hell of a band right there. So I have a couple things to say to Joe right now. First, Joe, this is still not where I want the drum set. Can't we just get it a little farther back so my kids have room to rock? Actually, it's actually perfect. Second thing is, Godspeed to you, dear Jose, to that never-ending musical festival in the sky. So with that, we shall commence the rocking.
Well, I told you once and I told you twice. Never listen to my advice. Don't try very hard to please me. When you should know it should be easy. Well, this could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Well, I'm sorry, girl, but I can't stay. Feeling like I do today. There's too much pain and too much sorrow. And I will feel the same tomorrow. Well, this could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. No. Take it away, Tony. Well, this could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh no. Oh no. Well, I told you once and I told you twice that someone will have to pay the price. But here's a chance to change your mind. 'Cause I'll be gone a long, long time. Well, this could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh no. Hey, the last time, baby. Oh no, 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 baby. The last time. No. Baby, the last time. Oh no, no, no. Oh no, no, Joe. Oh no, no, no. Oh no, no, no. Baby, the last time. Oh no, no,
Hi, everybody. My name is Susan West. I'm the one that sent you all those emails. And I know you liked all the color coordination except for Diane, who doesn't like the bright colors. I'm sorry, I hope it didn't give you one of your migraines. Sorry, I know. So, I already sent you all the details for the day. You know about the love for Joe and the love that Joe had for all of you and for all of APA. And today is a testament for that. I want to thank Ashley Singh, who you've met a couple of times now. Ashley and Mike and Jamie worked very hard and put all this together. I just sent the emails. So they did an amazing job. And we want to thank Josh and Connor and Mark for all that they did to make this happen today. And an extra special thanks to Gina for sharing Joe with us. And we all love Joe Batte, don't we? So after we finish up, and there's still a little bit more to come today, but after we're finished here in the auditorium, we're going to move outside. You're going to exit through these doors here, and we're going to have some sandwiches and a little bit of lunch, and then there's still time for us to share stories and for you to share stories about you and Joe, and more conversations, and maybe some opening the doors and let everybody see what the backstage looks like now. And I just know that you all loved all of these pictures and the stories that we've already shared today about all the shows, all the trips, all the production meetings, all the tech dinners. But now this last movie of the day is really super special, and it comes from us to us from David Kyle. Roll it, please.
Well, good morning, seniors. I'm saying good morning because it's a Saturday, Memorial Weekend, and everyone's asleep. But you guys know that feeling because you've also been in this theater on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning. And I'm here, it's my job, but you guys came in because you wanted to. And I've always admired you for that. You know, in the last 4 years, you've worked hard, you've accomplished a lot. It's so hard to believe 4 years have gone by, and I'm gonna miss each and every one of you. You know, thinking of things we've done, we've also, as you know, gone on road trips at spring break. We've been to London and Paris. We've gone on a Western Mediterranean cruise. We went to China. And last year we went to Greece. These are experiences you'll remember for the rest of your lives. And I hope you remember your time here as one that was positive. I know there's ups and downs, and that's life. But my goodness, we've laughed, we've cried, you've heard me scream at you. And most of all, though, you were all a vital part in this thing we know as technical theater. What a wonderful time we've had. You know, I always usually give some advice to my seniors as they go out, and I remember I have a quotation that hangs on my wall in the office. I'm only sorry I never committed it to memory, but I want to read it for you. I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good thing, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any fellow creature, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. I don't even know who wrote it, but I do keep it on my wall. I believe it's a good rule to live by. Also, you've heard me say in the past that I believe loving what you do is important. You know, having the skill and the knowledge to accomplish something will bring financial rewards. But loving what you do will bring peace of mind, confidence, and a feeling of self-worth. I truly believe that loving what you do goes hand in hand with being successful at it. And now I hate to say goodbye, but that time has come. And I want to leave you with this video, some of the memories that you have left behind here. And in hopes that you'll take these memories with you, memories of the laughter and the accomplishments. And so, this video is my gift to you.
That concludes this part of the day. And please join us for lunch outside, right through those doors.
If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?